friends, to episode 13. I'm trying to get a jump on this week's podcast because last week, if it was any indication of what this week's gonna look like for me, I'm fucked. I've got too much going on, not enough quiet time to get this done. Um, but we're still gonna get it done. Um, Before we jump into the news, I want to let you know about something exciting that's been going on. I was invited by National Ground Game, which is a political action committee, to join them in at least one, maybe more, I don't know, stops across the country to campuses that are following. Okay, let me rephrase that. They're stopping at college campuses across the country where Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA is stopping. They plan to combat the lies that Turning Point USA plans on spewing to young men. I have to be specific. White young men across college campuses in this country. And so National Ground Game plans to directly refute their claims and their lies by sending Parker and Dean to debate him on day one at Texas A&M University. They're bringing some of your favorite content creators along, and I was invited to be one of them, at least for the Texas A&M visit. We'll see if there's more, and if there is, it will obviously have to factor into my home life and family life, which always comes first for me. So, in all of the bio sections of all of my social medias, you will find a link to my link tree. In that link tree, there are useful links, helpful websites, but the very first link you'll find is the Unfuck America tour link, and that is where you can donate to help get us across the country to these college campuses so that we can directly refute these horrific talking points, literally just lies, that Charlie Kirk and his fascist minions are spreading into the young impressionable minds of our young people. The truth of the matter, and I know if you're a young person, this may sound like, I don't know, some bullshit, but your prefrontal cortexes are not fully formed before the age of 27, and you are very impressionable. And a lot of times things delivered to you in a manner that seems to make sense can sway public and personal opinion. But no one's blaming you. It's just the science of it. But unless somebody is there to combat the lies and the disinformation in a way that also tells you, through logic and evidence that what they're saying is wrong, then how do we expect it not to happen, right? How do we expect young mind not to be molded by Turning Point USA if no one's there to stop it? And that's what National Ground Game plans to do. With the use of some people that you know and trust. And if you can donate to that, fine. If you can't, also fine. But it will help to get us across the country. So let's move on to the first, I don't know, circus. What are we talking about today? What the fuck are we going to talk about today? Could be anything. I know what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the protests that took place on April 5th. There will be another one on the 19th, and that's what I'm talking about. I wish they were closer together. It needs to be something that happens in succession, and I'm assuming that this is something that will take place more towards the summertime when the temperatures are better. It's very cold for a lot of us in the like middle region of America right now. We're all very cold and fucking tired of being cold. But look at the media outlets did cover it. I'll give them the credit for covering it. But they are undercutting us in the numbers. Okay? They're undercutting us huge Let's talk about the amount of people who showed up in Boston, you guys. The numbers were huge. The number of people that showed up in New York, it was mind-blowing. And then the number of people who showed up at the National Mall in DC, I mean, absolutely packed. End to end, front to back, packed. Wisconsin, another one that was huge. There was 1,300 listed protests on the 5051 website. But there were even more than that. And they're undercutting us. They're saying 500,000. Listen, the federal parks, they're estimating 5 million showed up at the national parks. I don't know why they refuse to tell the fucking truth. But the one thing I never wanted to do was agree with MAGA. But when they said that, the media was lying to them, now I'm seeing it now that the tables are turning and they want to be able to keep getting back in the White House. And that's what's happening, friends. They undercut us a lot. They refused to say the word millions. It was millions, you guys. There's no question in my mind that we showed up in massive numbers. I don't know a single person who didn't go to a protest on our side, I should say. Everyone I know that could go did go to some protests. We went to Lansing. Most of my friends went to one in Ferndale, Michigan. They were all over the place. They were everywhere. And what were we protesting? We were protesting this administration ripping away our freedoms, demolishing our government, firing federal workers, threatening veterans, healthcare, Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. I mean, people are losing their entire lives because of this man. And then he turns around, fucking screws the globe over with tariffs. He even tariffed uninhabited islands. Stock market is plunging. Global economy is threatened. And then he turns around and tells people who are worried about it that they're dumb and stupid. Yeah, he did that today. He said, oh, don't worry. Things will bounce back. How do you tell that to the man or woman who lost 30 years worth of savings in a 401k for their retirement? Their lives are over. Over. I know you don't fucking care because you've got millions to fall back on. But their lives are over. They don't have an endless grift set up selling Bibles and watches and fucking prayers. If you send us $1,000 now, you're guaranteed a spot in heaven, says the president. I mean, what the fuck is happening? Blood pressure's too high. Listen, you guys. We will have to continue to fight back against the mis and disinformation because something that we cannot overlook is that where we used to find truth, we could go to the government website and we could pull data from the government website and we could trust that that data was put there by scientists, by people who do this for a living. We could trust that that information was put there regardless of political belief. They weren't going to skew the data to make, Biden or Obama or whoever look good. They were going to put down the data whether we liked it or not. And now we can't trust that shit anymore. We can't trust what comes off of that website because it's being run by a bunch of fucking clowns. And that's frightening to me that no amount of truth is ever going to get out if we don't keep speaking up. We don't keep, showing actual peer-reviewed data of things, right? That's the stuff we need to focus on, is keeping the truth out there because They're doing their goddamnedest to make sure the American people stay stupid. For far too long, the American populace has allowed the government to run the show with a hands-off approach on our side. And that is how we got here. Republicans played a long game and took advantage of the fact that Americans just didn't care about politics. They said, if you don't care, fine, look what we can do. Look what we can get done. We can be open and blatant and honest about our hatred for people of color, for marginalized groups, for the poor, for the LGBTQ. We can be open about our hatred for those things and those people, and there's nothing you can do about it. We'll just keep denying it, though. We'll say it and then deny it. Say it and then deny it, and then there's nothing you can do. They could say and do the most egregious shit, and it wouldn't matter because nobody in this country was paying attention. Nobody fucking saw that this man was gristing the American people. Nobody saw that one of his first executive orders was to allow himself to take financial gifts to go around the emoluments clause of the Constitution. Which is why now you've got some dumb bitch preaching from the fucking Oval Office saying, for $2,000, if you send us $2,000, you know, you're guaranteed your whatever the fuck she's saying. I mean, she's offering shit that is crazy. It's crazy talk. It's insane. We have an absolutely insane group of people running this administration. And if we don't fight back and speak up, we are all incredibly fucked. So please do your part today. Speaking out in some way. In some way, we have no choice. We have to speak up. So the next thing on our list to discuss is the economy, the stock market. A lot of people have their retirements wrapped up in their 401ks, are wrapped up in the stock market. This is how it works. They take your money and they kind of gamble with it a little bit and try to make you as much as possible. And a lot of people who work their whole lives to put money into their 401ks are now finding that all of their savings is gone. This is no joke. You know, we can laugh and kiki it up all we want about millionaires losing their 10 to 15% of their net worth, but some people, good people, are losing everything. While Donald Trump plays golf. Speaking of somebody losing 15% of their net worth, Dave Portnoy, founder of Barstool Sports, has gone mega viral, in his own words, because he complained about the $7 million that he was down. But he's back to complain about more. So watch this clip.
3 days coming into today has just been, not good. I went super viral when I said I lost $7 million. I'd kill to be back to losing $7 million. I haven't even looked. If I had to guess, I'm down in these last 3 days, probably close to 20. I don't know, like 10, 15% of my net worth. Poof. I hate that I'm losing all this money. He's come up with this thing. Don't join the panicky party. I hate that I've lost 20 million. I didn't love seeing him on the golf course playing his course championship and being like, I'm a very low handicap. I didn't love that. Like, the stock market is getting crushed. I've lost 20% of my net worth. And you're out on the golf course. Like, in my mind, Donald Trump just cost me 20 million or whatever he did. Maybe don't be on the golf course because I'm curled up in a ball in bed sweating. So would I care about this if I wasn't rich? Maybe not as much, but I firmly believe if the stock market is down and crashing, the whole economy's, it's all intertwined.
So there's Dave Portnoy being super candid about his loss of 20% of his net worth. Word on the street is that even Elon tried to talk his little puppet out of, these ridiculous tariffs that are crushing our economy and global economies. And no go. Even Elon didn't have a say in this. So you've got Republicans, one of them being Mitch McConnell, trying to rein the man in using Congress to do so. People are trying to use the courts to do so. And the only thing that happens is you have his lackeys in Congress threatening to do away with the things that could get in his way. And that's fascism, friends. That is fascism. Now, do I care that these billionaires are losing money? No, I don't. I care that people I love and care about are losing their life savings. And I guess it remains to be seen what the point in all of this was. Now, there is a reason that these tariffs are happening. And the reason that these tariffs are happening is because of a man by the name of Peter Navarro. Peter Navarro, friends, is a sleazeball. He is a skis dude. He's not anyone that should be making, policy changes for this country. He's a fucking skis. But he also wrote Chapter 26 in Project 2025, all about trade. That's right. Peter Navarro wrote the chapter on trade in Project 2025, which is why he has so much pull right now and is making the case for all of these tariffs. It remains to be seen what this man, I don't know, what this man's credentials are that he could just go off and execute these trade agreements using the president's voice. Like, I don't know what his qualifications are for such a thing, but it doesn't matter because nobody in this administration has the qualifications needed to do the job they're in, period. They don't. And the country's getting set up. Even his voters are getting set up. Even his staunch allies and supporters are getting set up. In fact, friends, a new right-wing group backed by Cope and Leonard Leo are now suing him to stop these tariffs. It's a libertarian group that's been funded by Leonard Leo and Charles Cope, and they've launched a legal challenge. It's a libertarian party. They're called the New Civil Liberties Alliance. And they filed a suit against Trump for his tariffs on exports from China, arguing that doing so under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, the IEEPA, which the president has invoked to justify the duties on nearly all countries, is unlawful. The group's actions echo support. Sorry, I'm looking down and reading this to you. The group's actions echo support given by 4 Republican senators. Here they are, your 4 Republican senators. They are Mitch McConnell, Rand Paul, Susan Collins, and Lisa Murkowski. They're trying to rein him in using legislation, and they're going to have to lean on Democrats. The action from the alliance has the potential to be even more emblematic given its past backing from Koch, a billionaire industrialist, and Leonard Leo, a wealthy legal activist, who advised Trump on the nominations of 3 conservative Supreme Court justices. Listen, off topic. Leonard Leo is also a skis, and he is the reason for every single conservative justice on that court right now. It's not coincidence, it is by design. The alliance has tabled its action on behalf of Simplified, a Florida-based home goods company whose business is heavily reliant on imports from China. It argues that the president has exceeded his powers in invoking the IEEPA to justify tariffs. Even the bigwigs, friends, Coke and Leo, these are big, big, big dollar donors. And when you start taking away money from the people who give it to you, you're fucking stupid. Well, we all knew that, didn't we? We all knew Trump was a dumb motherfucker, but I digress. Let's move on. Now, the New Republic came out with an article yesterday. The title of that article is, "Turns out Trump lied about those deportations to El Salvador." And to that we say, no shit. We were arguing, the lawyers were arguing that you could very easily, by invoking the Alien Enemies Act, say, well, that guy is a terrorist and put him in jail. And that's exactly what he's been doing to brown people since this started. 60 Minutes, Cecilia Vega on Sunday confirmed that anyone who's been paying attention already suspected an overwhelming majority of Venezuelan men that Trump deported to a Salvadorian mega prison have no criminal record whatsoever. Yet he continued to call them Tren de Aragua gang members and terrorists to legitimize his invoking the Alien Enemies Act. 60 Minutes got access to government records of the Venezuelans and compared them to domestic and international arrest records and court filings. The new program reported that they could not find criminal records for 75% of the Venezuelans. 179 men now sitting in prison. Less than a quarter of them have an arrest record in the United States, and they are mostly for nonviolent offenses. This proves that the Trump administration is carrying out its cruelty campaign indiscriminately. If you are a South American immigrant with tattoos, you could find yourself in Salvadorian President Nayib's infamous mega prison with a shaved head without a day in court. The Trump administration told 60 Minutes that it was wrong, that the 179 men truly are actually terrorists, human rights abusers, gangsters, and more. They just don't have a rap sheet in the United States. The New Republic says, could it be possible that there is something that perhaps the government knows that you don't? Vega asked the lawyer representing Andre Hernandez Romero, a gay makeup artist and theater troupe member who was deported to the mega prison. I'm here to tell you, Tren de Aragua isn't letting gay makeup artists in their fucking gang, you guys. Are you kidding me right now? The lawyer says, I don't think that it's possible, but if it was possible that they had some information, they should follow the Constitution, present that information, and give them the ability to reply to it. But the administration is fighting tooth and nail to avoid doing so. In fact, as of yesterday, the Supreme Court sided with the Trump administration, knocking down a court order that would have brought home a man who was given a court order to remain in the United States in 2018. The administration stated, well, he's in their custody now and it's out of our, we can't bring him back. We just can't bring him back. And the big fear, friends, that I can't say on TikTok is that this man is dead. That's the fear that we have. Why on earth would they not bring him home? What's the reason? You can't possibly say we can't get him home. You can get him home. Hold on while I adjust my microphone. You can bring him home, there's no question. You just either can't because he's dead, or you won't because you have an enormous ego. Yeah. So I'm going to head back to work and we will switch topics when I get back, friends. We need to be in these streets. Now, April 19th is the next scheduled protest date. And that is conflicting. Well, not really conflicting, but it is awfully close to the April 20th date. And if you haven't heard what that is, I'm going to explain it to you, okay? When Donald Trump took office, he sent through a wave of executive orders. And in doing so, one of them was that he could um, basically declare martial law, under an emergency declaration that we were being invaded. Okay. And he set out his minions to, I guess, research. I don't know exactly what might happen in the event that he declare martial law and if he should. And he gave them 90 days to come back to him with an answer. That 90 days is up on April 20th. So a lot of people think that because of that, he is going to declare martial law in this country. I want to explain to you something, okay? Martial law can only be declared under the circumstances. Let me put that up. Let me put that up, okay? Okay, so what I'm putting up here on the screen, I'm going to read to you. This is from Newsweek. The claim that he's declaring martial law had gotten a lot of traction, and now a lot of the media outlets are covering it. Newsweek did a fact check on it. Here's what this says that I'm putting up on the screen. An executive order signed by President Trump on Inauguration Day, this is the claim, directs the Department of Defense and the Department of Homeland Security to submit a report by April 20th assessing the situation at the border and recommending whether to invoke the Insurrection Act of 1807. The order reads, quote, within 90 days of the date of this proclamation, the Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of Homeland Security shall submit a joint report to the President, including whether to invoke the Insurrection Act. Okay. So you've got the Secretary of Defense, which would be Pete Hegseth, and Homeland Security, which would be Puppy Killer, I believe. They have to submit a joint report saying, do we have a crisis at the border? They have to answer no, because the American people see the numbers. The numbers are like single digits that people are coming into this country seeking asylum. They're not coming anymore, okay? Donald Trump has scared the fuck out of people, and, well, it worked. If you didn't want brown people coming, well, you sure as fuck don't have them coming. In fact, they're avoiding this country like it's the plague. The rest of it says the rumors online have spiraled into predictions of impending martial law using the January 20th executive order as cover. The hashtag martial law has been used 21,500 times on TikTok, some of which referred to the April 20th date. In a now deleted video, TikTok user Aja KY pointed to the executive order tied to Department of Homeland Security and said the only way Trump has to do this is to declare and publish a proclamation that orders these parties to disperse. The claim, however, remains unsupported. Now, if you scroll down, they show a few videos of people making this claim, and it says the facts, right here, the facts, unfounded. The unfounded social media claims about martial law appear to be conflating it with the pending April 20th deadline for the Secretaries of Defense and Homeland Security to decide whether to recommend the Insurrection Act as a tool to enforce the southern border, which is already among the calmest it has been in years since President Trump took office. The Insurrection Act is a set of federal laws dating back to blah, 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 2 centuries ago. We know what it is. Basically, what I'm saying to you, friends, is I don't think he could get away with it. Could he try? Possibly. But I feel like there would be an immense pushback even from Republicans on this because it is clear there is no crisis at the border, right? We were having hundreds of thousands pour in weekly. And now we have
0 in some places, goose eggs. So you can't say there is a crisis. And that's what I wanted to talk about. I don't feel like he's going to do that. And you know how much I hate that motherfucker. So if I thought he was going to do something, I would be all over it. But I will tell you this. I will warn military people. I doubt they would listen. I doubt they would hear this. But I would warn them of this. You took an oath, goddammit. You took an oath and you swore to uphold the Constitution. That document still stands today, no matter how much that motherfucker wants to tear it down. And you took an oath. You took an oath to uphold the Constitution. You didn't take an oath to follow orders from fucking fascists. So, no matter what, friends, if he does declare martial law, he's doing it illegally, and any military member who abides by that is breaking their oath. They're breaking their oath. And you may love this man. You may be sitting in the military like, yes, I get to fuck shit up because I'm under the leadership of a fascist and I get to fuck shit up. Well, friend, the only shit fucking you're going to be doing will be of your fellow Americans. And if you can sleep at night and be okay with that, you're no fucking patriot and you should be fucking court-martialed. But let's move on. So, it is, the date today is April 9th, okay? And today's the day that the tariffs are supposed to take hold, right? We're across the world where all these tariffs are starting to kick in. And every single economist, every single business owner, every single company who couldn't exist without imports is screaming to this administration that you are fucking over the economy. Beijing just said it was jacking up retaliatory imports to 84% from 34%, including a total. Wait, okay. After Donald Trump's sweeping global tariffs went into effect, including a total of 104% on global goods from China, the world's second largest economy. European officials approved imposing a fresh set of retaliatory tariffs on U.S. imports. The duties, which would come into effect April 15th, would range from 10% to 20%, 25% on more than $24 billion worth of goods. This is crazy. Quite literally, every single Republican politician who's sucking Donald Trump off needs to be primaried. Every single one of them. When you lose your farms, when your businesses go under, right? After you voted for this man, when your kids lose their ability to go to a school where they can get an IEP or get the care they need because they learn differently. When you lose all of those things, don't come complaining, but do what needs to be done, okay? Start primarying the people you put in office because they lied to you. Whether you were too stupid to believe us and you had to find out the hard way, or you just didn't know. Either way, you have a job to do now, and that is to primary every single Republican who is sucking off the orange bad man in the White House, okay? Don't come complaining and crying because we fucking read Project 2025 to you verbatim. Many of us sat on our social medias and fucking read it to you. We read it to you, and you just couldn't be bothered to believe us because they told you we were bad. We were the evil democrats, remember? Remember that? Don't complain, friends. I'm at a loss for words. I need a moment. So all day, friends, I read stories from maggots who voted for this asshole and who are now crying about what they've done. They're crying about the economy. They're crying about the loss of their 401ks. They're crying about losing their farms. They're crying about losing their jobs. They're crying about their children's education. They're crying. You're all fucking crying. And yes, there's a handful of you motherfuckers out there who still believe in the racist shit that this man is doing. And you're happy about it. I know that. We see you. We have seen you. But let me tell you the truth of the matter, friend. When you leave yourself in your little bubble of hatred, what you miss out on is reality, okay? I said this in a video on TikTok, and it's worth saying again, okay? When you stay in your little wheel and you don't leave it, and your boss tells you, this is what I want you to do, regardless of how it hurts your pocket, regardless of how it affects your family, I want you to support me no matter what. That is the same fucking thing as literally him saying, drink this Kool-Aid and don't ask me what's fucking in it because the promised land awaits. Don't complain about the S&P being historically low or the Dow Jones being historically low. Don't complain about those things. Don't complain about losing your entire life fucking savings because I'm going to call you then a panikin. You're going to be part of the panicid party. It's the same thing as drinking the Kool-Aid because Donald Trump is telling you the promised land awaits. You just got to get through this. And that's not fucking how it works. That's not how it works. And you are just too goddamn dumb to listen to the people smarter than you telling you this isn't right. Telling you this isn't normal. This isn't how countries fix a broken economy. This isn't how you do it. You don't isolate your nation. You don't fuck over your allies. You don't slap tariffs on a country and pretend like you have been getting screwed over for 50 years, because we haven't been, friends. This nation has been the world leader. We set the fucking rules. We made the fucking rules. So pretending, which is what Donald Trump is doing, and y'all are believing it, pretending like other countries and nations have been screwing us over, is only working on you people. You dumbass maggots. It's only working on them. Everybody else knows that this country is in a shitstorm of trouble because of what he's doing. But you have to ask who he's doing it for. The only people who are cheering this on are China and Russia, you dumb motherfuckers. God damn it, you're stupid. You're so fucking stupid. MAGA, I'm talking to you. All right, friends. On that note, I think I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it the end of this podcast for the week because you all know what's going on. But what I want you not to do is to not freak out over this man declaring martial law. I want you to go out in the streets on April 19th, and I want you to protest in the same fucking numbers you showed up in on April 5th. And if you missed April 5th, this is a good opportunity to add your body count to the number of people protesting. Okay? We need to do this en masse every time they schedule one. Every single time. And the same people, you're going to get tired of it, friends. You're going to be like, I just did this. I just did this. So save your fucking signs. You don't have to make a new sign every time. Bring your fucking signs. But please know this. These motherfuckers are going to send in agitators. Please be careful on the side of the road. These people are crazy. And in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, some dumb motherfucker ran into a person with his fucking car. So please do not line up on the side of the road. I don't know who's scheduling or setting up these fucking protests on the side of the road, but fucking stop it. You are putting lives in danger by doing that. There's a easier chance that somebody could do that and then pretend like it was an accident and get a time-served manslaughter charge and your family member's dead because you went to a protest on the side of the goddamn highway. Please do not line up on the highway. They want nothing more than a reason to run us the fuck over, okay? So please show up, watch for agitators, call the cops on those motherfuckers, and don't engage. Do not engage. This is a peaceful movement. Peaceful movement, friends. And remember that I said that, okay? All right, I love you. Everyone, enjoy the rest of the week. Do what you can to stay safe. Keep creating community. Find friends. Reach out. Find community across the pond, you guys. We need global community, okay? I love you. As we stand with Canada, we stand with Ukraine, we stand with our global allies. We love you all.